for joining us today on Your Kentuckiana Home. We have a special treat for you today. We are in an amazing space in downtown Shelbyville that is owned by Ben and Melinda Harden. Thanks for joining us. Right now we're in the family room, and can you describe the other rooms for the viewers at home so they can get a sense of the space?
You know, with it being so big, our biggest intention was to, like I said, just make it homey. So every time we went with creating a space, we wanted to take different elements that were already existing in the house. For example, the tin that we have in the kitchen ceiling and the floors, I think Ben mentioned, were all original. And so we'd walk into a space and say, how can we make this feel comfortable, livable, and homey?
It's really a concept to where do you even start when you come up with a blank, empty space that's 5,000 square feet. Where do you even start?
We would just stand in it and sort of go, okay, when this is all done, all this is such a far cry from where we were at the time, what do we want the feel of it to be? And so we would get, remember we'd get those pieces of paper and we would draw out like things that we wanted or how we would want it to feel. And so we kind of would start from scratch like that and then be in the space and feel our way through it. And at the heart of everything we did, we wanted it to be creative, of course, but we wanted it to have a homey feel, a comfortable feel. And so with those things being the driving force, we would sort of create from there.
So for example, the kitchen. We wanted a space right off the kitchen where we could be outside because, you know, we cook out, we enjoy life outside. And so we took what we had to work with, which was the rooftop deck. And so we created that entrance and exit right off the kitchen because it just best suited for that. And so then we had the task of trying to come up with our kitchen design. But what we really actually wanted as far as a cabinet style and color, it just wasn't there. And so we had to create it ourselves. And a lot of things here in the space we created ourselves. It's not something that you can go to a local store and buy. We are fortunate enough to be in Shelby County, which is known for antiques and horses. And so a lot of the things that we use here are reclaimed, repurposed, things that have come in through antique shops, things that we've even found here. We've repurposed all the doors in the space. They're all from in here. So going back to the kitchen, we decided to just go on a basic white primer color on the cabinets for the layout, and then had a local artist, Southern Inspirations, come in and paint the cabinets for us to give it that distressed, unusual look that we were trying to accomplish.
She was great to work with, and I remember asking her, so we love the glaze on the cabinets, and we had this front entrance wall that had original wallpaper, and we wanted to keep it, but it was just sort of a mess, and we didn't know exactly what to do with it. We didn't want to cover it up for sure, and so she had the suggestion of, well, what if I take the glaze from the cabinets and we can put that on, and it'll still sort of seep through and tell the story.
And one of the things that I'd required from the army of people that came here to do work is, don't tell me no, it can't be done. Just let's figure out a way to do it somehow close. Okay, so that was the only prerequisite for anybody coming and doing anything here was, you're going to tell me no a lot. But fortunately, we all came to, you know, creative thinking and ways to get it all done.
The design here, to me, when I look at it, it's a mix of old and new. And you really have taken that and kind of put your own spin on it, I feel like.
You're exactly right. One of the things that we tried to do was salvage every ounce of what was here and reuse everything that we could instead of just throwing it in dumpsters. This building was built in 1882. In the early 1900s, there was a fire on this block on Main Street, and it demolished some of the facades of the building. And so around 1909, they rebuilt some of these facades. And so a lot of this material that we used in this building has survived a fire. You know, there was no hand tools back then. It was all by hand. So getting things on a straight line and the metal work of the tin that they used here, it's just the art that no longer exists. yeah, it's been a neat mix of old and new, and just the small little details that we've put in that maybe not a lot of people would even notice, but we notice and we know that they're there. And
well, we're so fortunate because we work downstairs. Well, at the cafe, the back of that is an antique mall. So we get first dibs. So if something were to walk, I mean, oftentimes something would walk in and before a vendor could price it, we're loading it upstairs. Like the piece when you walk in, there's an old mailbox. And it came in, and a couple of hours after it got there, Ben's like, hey, what do you think? And we actually built a wall to encase it. So that's part of our decor. But I mean, I don't know where else that would go in any other just sort of traditional home, but it just completely fits here.
Well, your space here is absolutely amazing. Thank you for letting us come in and see it and telling us about your story.
thank you for having us. And hopefully, you know, our vision, our goal is to hopefully inspire other people to kind of undertake this kind of effort. There's a large insurgence for main streets across the United States right now. But I just encourage your viewers to really look into purchasing and rehabbing old buildings, maybe in their town, just to help kind of revitalize that Main Street movement. Yes. Because there are, other than just having a great space to live, there are a lot of positives that come out of rehabbing something that was built such a long time ago.
When you get into these old buildings, you realize you're really a part of history in a really unique way that you might not be able to be otherwise. And so you sort of sense, you know, all the things that happened here before. And
can you tell the story about Walter Smith?
Yes. We had a gentleman come in to the cafe, and he had seen a picture of the house, and noted that there was a door that said Walter B. Smith, and that told us that that was his uncle, and could he take a picture by the door. So when he came up, he shared the story with us that Walter B. Smith was actually Colonel Sanders' attorney, and it was his attorney when he sold KFC and all. So that happened here. So that's just really neat to think about all of the things that, and we have the door still as part of our home, and you know, that could have been a piece that, was that the piece? There was a piece where one of the guys that was working on it said, I'm about to scrape these letters off, and we had a heart attack. Like, no, keep this story. So we have several doors like that that are original with different office names on there, and just decided to keep those around. They're such conversation pieces, and it's a good reminder to know, you know, you weren't the first ones here.
Thank you so much for joining us today. We really enjoyed hearing your story. I hope Melinda and Ben have inspired you to find a little piece of history of your own, repurpose it, and make it your home.